Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to show you how to solo Champions of Hara, which is designed by Leaf Pile Media and currently published by Greenbrier Games. Champions of Hara is set in Hara, which is this really interesting alternative world where people can get their wishes fulfilled, but sometimes that doesn't work out quite the way you'd want it to. There are several very interesting characters in this game. I'm going to be introducing you to Kaoru and Kuma because we're going to be playing their solo scenario. Each character has a set of scenarios and their own little story within this game for you to explore. We're going to have a closer look at his character in just a moment, but we're going to be playing Kaoru and Kuma the bear, and Kaoru is a lost geomancer. So we know that on his home world, Kaoru was an outcast among the warriors of his tribe. Due to his physical disability, Kaoru was denied the rights of manhood and deemed unworthy of his own bear companion. In his new life on Hara, Kaoru's creative spirit imbues him with the power to manipulate stones and soil, allowing him to build a powerful new arm and create his very own best friend, Kuma. So the title of this particular scenario is The Making of a Man. And the description from the scenario book says, the Kinsei, in all of their wisdom, didn't know what to make of the young boy's request. Gender is all but meaningless on Hara, so they looked into Kaoru's heart and gave him what he thought he needed. So basically what's happening is that Kaoru had to rebuild his own arm on Hara, but when he was home, he was forbidden the rights of manhood in his culture. So he wants to go through the equivalent of that on Hara. What that's going to end up actually looking like in this solo scenario is he's going to travel through all these different worlds to defeat the bosses of each world. We're going to be moving stuff around to increase your visibility throughout the game. But basically what's going on is we have these sets of hexes that are all over the place, and each of them has a boss that's pre-spawned on the third space of each of these. That's not part of the normal setup for other scenarios. You'll have to tweak for every scenario that you play. But in this case, we have 6 of the 7 bosses out, and the 7th one is going to spawn on the dojo after we've defeated the first 6. So we have all these different worlds, and each of them has a boss, and they're all going to be also going to be spawning monsters and events to help us gain the energy that we need to be able to take down these bosses. So aside from that big board with all the hexes, we also have our own separate player area that I'm going to give you a little tour of really quick. So here's Kaoru and Kuma's character card. Underneath it, I have actually put these level up cards. So these are cards that are not going to start in our hand, but as we gain energy throughout the game, we'll have an opportunity to select and upgrade some of our abilities, which is something I'll talk you through as we go. We're going to start with 1 Dreamstone, which is an item that allows me to spawn extra world cards because going through events and defeating monsters gives me energy and various rewards that I need to grow in my quest. And this is my starting hand, which I'm going to walk you through in just a moment. So one thing that distinguishes your starter cards from others is that they have these gold corners. So you will have 4 cards to start with, and I'm going to talk you through how they work in just a moment. First, I'm going to show you this character board. So basically, I have started with energy at these lower levels. I'm going to need to go around collecting energy of different colors. When I hit these middle areas, I can go pick cards of the corresponding color out of the level up pile. So I can only pick 1, so I'm gonna have to choose how I wanna spec my character going forward. And then because Kuma's main energy color is green, if I max out on green, I'm gonna get a special card called my ultimate, one that is so powerful that it goes back in the level up pile once I have used it, because it's just too overpowered to be used in normal play all the time. So hopefully we'll get to my ultimate, show you how it looks. I also have a specific spawn health and spirit amount. It is just on the back of this character card. So every character will have a different spawning health and spirit amount, and it will be on their card. So the real key to Champions of Hara is in the card play. And my favorite aspect of this game is the card play. It's really, really interesting. Basically, your cards have a life cycle in this game that is really fascinating. So you get 3 activations per turn unless you have something that's free. And every card is double-sided. So here I have actions that are in hand. So if I'm using my in-hand action, the card has to be in my hand. But once I use it, let's say that I want to move up to 2, I'll put it down sideways for the moment, do my movement, but then on the next turn when everything resets, I'm going to be able to leave it on board and then activate the onboard action to pick it back up. And then it can cycle out to play the in-hand action again. So basically, my cards have dual actions and I need to time them correctly so that, you know, when I have something in hand, I'm playing it at the right time to use the action that I need to pick it back up again at the end of a turn. I find this really, really interesting in terms of play, and I'm really looking forward to showing you guys how it works. All right, so we're back to the world. Cavalry's challenge is actually pretty tough, not because any of the bosses is impossible to defeat, but because you don't have a lot of time to do it in. So this game works in rounds, so dawn, dusk on day 2, 3, 4. If I'm not done by the end of day 5, I am not going to win. So I need to figure out how to ramp up really quick to go and get these bosses. But for now, it is dawn on day 1. And what that means is that we're going to spawn the top card of each world deck onto the one space on each world. So the Dreer has an event. Events spawn face down, so hopefully we can go see what that is. A monster. We got a Molten Mantis. Yikes. Here we will spawn an event, so that will stay face down. Oppenheim's going to spawn an event. That'll be face down. The Lunar Ridge Monster will come face up, an Ice Phoenix. And then the Bayou is also going to spawn a monster, in this case a Bass Hunter. So I'm going to need to approach some of these monsters and events, and then we can do a close-up and show you how the combat is going to work. I, with my cool bear miniature, I'm going to spawn right here in the dojo. The dojo is kind of like a safe spot for the most part. There's some special rules that affect it in this game. There will be some that affect this scenario at the very end. We'll see if we get there. But basically, if I end my turn on this space, I can gain some health and some spirit. So that's good. Okay, so let's figure out what I can do to get where I need to go. Each of these bosses has about 6 health, so I'm going to need to be able to get close to them and then hit for 6 in order to beat them. In this game, you have to defeat a monster outright. It will regain all of its health at the end of a round, so you can't just do a little bit of damage and call it a day. You have to actually kill it outright. So let's have a look at my cards and see what my options are. Right now, everything is in hand. So dash will let me move up to 2. I get 3 activations, by the way, so I have to pick 3 things to do from these cards. So move up to 2. This one says my next attack this turn with a single target deals +1 damage. It costs 1 grit. If I have Kuma's Might or Kuma's Defense on the table, which are upgrade cards, this ability is free. So when they talk about grit, one of the things that's special about Kuma is that he works off of a special resource that is called grit. At dawn of each day, my grit gets reset to 4, but I'm gonna have to spend it the more stuff I do throughout the day. So when I run out of grit, that doesn't mean I have to stop doing stuff, but it does mean that I have to pay my health instead of grit. So cards with grit costs will cost me either grit if I have it, or health if I don't. So I also have a card called Landslide. I can choose any number of players or corrupted within range 3, including myself. I can move those targets 1 space in any direction. So range 3, I'm considered range 0, so I could move, for example, this Ice Phoenix towards me if that was what I wanted to do. And then I have Stone Claw, which allows me to deal 2 damage, range 1, costs 1 grit. So those are my current options for this turn. So I think I'd definitely like to get some energy and some rewards. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I might want to try to take out this Ice Phoenix or maybe this Bass Hunter. It kind of depends on what I'm thinking. All right, so here's what I think I'm going to do. I want to keep my dash movement so I can move more at dusk. So I'm going to first play Landslide. So I can choose any number of players are corrupted within range 3, including myself. And I can move those targets each 1 space in any direction. So I'm going to move myself 1 space in this direction to get up close to the Bass Hunter. So I'm going to go for this monster this turn. So now I've played this card. I've activated 1 activation, and I'm going to put it sideways in order to indicate that that is what I have done. Now I'm going to play Bear Friend. So it says my next attack this turn with a single target deals +1 damage. It costs 1 grit. I don't have Kuma's Might or Kuma's Defense, so I can't do anything about that. I'm gonna put this down. And I'm gonna spend 1 grit on my little grit calculator, meaning that I have 3 left. And now I'm going to play Stone Claw. So I can deal 2 damage, range 1. It costs 1 grit. So I'm going to move my grit down 1 more to 2. I now have 2 grit. But I'm going to play it because it deals 2 damage plus 1 because it's an attack against a single target. So I'm going to put it down as another activation. And what that means is that I have gotten to 3 damage, which is what I needed to kill this monster. His attack value was 2, his range was 1, but he's not going to get to attack me. He does, however, have some special keywords, so he's aggressive. What that means is that if I'd moved into his space and attacked him at range 0, he would have attacked me the moment I entered the space for 2, because that's his attack value. He also is critical, so what that means is that he can do me 1 damage during his attack phase, but he's not going to get 1 because I'm about to kill him. But to make a critical effect happen, what happens is you roll a die, and on a 5 or a 6, the critical effect occurs. As it happens, however, we're just going to defeat this Bass Hunter, and actually it'll be Base Hunter, I guess, because he's holding a base. I was looking at a crocodile and thinking about fish, but perhaps it's a Base Hunter. All right, so right here along the card are my rewards. I'm going to get 1 red energy, 1 green energy, no blue, no gold, which is like wild, and then I'm going to get item number 16. So in Champions of Hara, there's this item deck. It's in numerical order. So let's find 16 and see what it is. So our item is equipment, Mark of the Hunter. I may ignore the monster keyword armored. So that may come in handy because armored monsters are harder to do damage to. So let's definitely keep this thing. That's cool. So we'll put it over there with my Dreamstone. Nice. So that was the end of, this has like been the entire dawn round. Now we're gonna move into dusk and go through what that process is. So let's move our counter to dusk. What do we do at dusk? At dusk, we spawn cards from this dusk deck. So there's like a separate dusk deck that's been hanging out by the board over here. And we spawn a number of cards equal to the number of players plus 1. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll these dice and it'll tell us where to spawn. So this is Oppenheim, space 1. So space 1 on Oppenheim is already occupied by an event. As you can see, this space 1 is already occupied by an event. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a card in the next lowest number, which will be up here, number 2. So this dusk card is a Dawn Kieran. It's just another monster. So what we're gonna do is we are going to just put him here and then see if we wanna go and defeat him at a future time. Next, we're gonna roll the dice again for 1 more dusk card. So now we have the Dreer and then space 2. So here's space 2 on the Dreer. We got another Dawn Kieran from the dusk deck. So special loot is I can transport to the dojo after beating him. That may be something good for health later, but for now, I've just got a couple Dawn Kierans here on the board. So now I get to do another round. So this monster, by the way, is off the board. And these cards that I had played are going to now get unexhausted. We won't say tapped, haha. But now they're gonna be on board. So while they had different actions while they were in hand, now they're on the on board side. So what that's gonna mean is that my options for these this turn are gonna be move 1. I can spend 2 grit to move 3 spaces instead. So that may be something I choose, who knows. I can gain 1 health and 1 spirit as a free action. Or I can deal 3 damage, range 0, which costs 2 grit. So I have to decide what it is that I want to do with my cards. I also do still have dash, so I can move up to 2 as an in-hand action, and then that'll go back down on the board. So think about what 3 activations I might like. All right, so I don't actually have enough damage power to come and do 6 damage to its Murky Merc, which is something that I would have liked to be able to do because it's a boss. But since that's not an option, we are going to do something else. So I'm actually going to play my dash from in hand so I can move up to 2. And I'm just going to put it deactivated over here. So I'm going to move 1. Let's move 1. And we're going to go ahead and go 2. So it says when you enter this space, lose 1 spirit. So sadly, I am going to have to lose a spirit from my board. So we're going to go down 1 spirit. But the other thing that's going to be interesting is that this monster is marked as dangerous. So what that means is that when I defeat him, he will hit me for his attack value of 2 just on his way out of this world, which sucks. I'm going to lose some health, but I'm also going to get some rewards and show you guys some more combat. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to activate the Stone Claw ability on board. So I can deal 3 damage, range 0, cost 2 grit. So I'm going to move this sideways and put it here with the cards that were on board. So that's 3 damage. It cost me 2 grit. I started this turn with 2. So now I'm going to be down to 0 grit, so I don't have any left. And then that will take this guy out. He is going to do damage to me for 2, so I'm going to lose 2 health. I'm going from 9 to 7. But I'm also going to get these rewards. I get 2 blue energy, and I get item number 9. So let's give myself some energy. I'm currently at 2 blue, 1 red, and 1 green. And then I'm going to take item number 9 from the item deck. So let's see what it is that I'm going to get. So here's 9. Let's put it down really quick so I can put this deck aside. What did I get? Ooh, Ice Phoenix down. Discard. If I would be defeated, I may discard this card to return to my spawn value for health and spirit instead. Ooh, that's awesome because it means I can afford to take some risks because I basically have a free life. Fantastic. That's a good item. So put that over my inventory as well. So that was the end of, well, I have one more activation. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to grab 1 health and 1 spirit as a free action by picking Bear Friend back up. So that's my onboard action. It's free, so it's not even an activation. I still have 1 activation left if I so choose. However, I'm not sure that there's anywhere that I want to go at just this moment. So I'm definitely going to do that. Bear Friend. So my health back up to 8. My spirit back up to 5. So as you can see, these are my current stats. So when an activation is free, that means that it doesn't count against your 3. So I've done 2. I did a dash from in hand. I did Stone Claw from on board. And I did Bear Friend. But that was free. So I still have a 3rd action if I so choose. If I do that, I can use Landslide to move 1. I don't really want to spend health or grit right now. Actually, I think I'm just going to kind of hang out. I'm not going to take that 3rd activation because there's nothing that I really need to do. So that's the end of the dusk round. And what that's going to mean for the dawn is that I took these 2 onboard actions. So these cards are now back in my hand. So we'll be using the in-hand actions for those cards. I played this one from in my hand. It's going to become an on-board action option that I have for an upcoming turn. So that is basically how the card activations work in this game. I really, really love that rhythm of putting a card down, picking it back up, trying to time the actions well. It's the most satisfying part of playing Champions of Hara. So now that the dusk is over, we are going to draw a World Shift card from the World Shift deck. So this is probably the most annoying part of the game for me because I basically have to pick up these hexes and move them around. And I am clumsy. I find this extremely challenging. So here's the world card that we drew. It's called Not a Drop. Water is a delicate subject on this world. It's been the genesis of great societies and the cause of their untimely destruction. Hara's unique geography makes the sources few and far in between, and what little there is has been the catalyst for great strife. I can't help but wonder, what does the future hold for the waters of Earth? This is from Thomas's log. Thomas Evening is another character in this game. So I'm going to switch locations of the Lunar Ridge and the Dojo, keeping their orientations the same. And then the player with the least total energy, that would be me, haha, may choose to prove their worth. So if I fail, I take 2 damage and get a Dreamstone. If I get success, I get to keep this card in my inventory. While I'm on space in Lunar Ridge, my attacks with a single target deal +1 damage. So basically I can do a challenge in order to try to get this card. If I am successful, then my attacks with against opponents here do +1, which would help me against the Tide Spirit that I'd kind of like to go for. So let's talk through challenges and decide whether it's a good idea for me right now. So basically what it means is I need to roll a die and hit a 6. I have a chance to gamble a certain amount of spirit. If I pay a certain amount of spirit, it reduces the top number that I need to get on the die in order to be successful, and then I roll a die. So if I paid 2 spirit, I could reduce it to where I had to hit a 4. If I paid 3, I could reduce it to where I had to hit a 3. So let's think about this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pay 2 spirit and hope that I can hit a 4 or better. So my spirit was 5. It's now going down to 3. Let's see what I get. Oh, that's fantastic. I rolled a 6, so I didn't have to bet any spirit in the first place. But how was I going to know that? So I did pass this challenge, and what that means is I get to keep this card, and then while I'm on a space in the Lunar Ridge, my attacks with a single target deal +1 damage. So we're going to go after this Tide Spirit soon, because I have the ability to go at him. The other thing that we have to do as a result of that World Shift card is we have to switch the Dojo and Lunar Ridge without changing their orientation. So that literally means I have to get these tiles like up. Ooh, and I have to switch them. And now the Dojo's over here and Lunar Ridge is in the middle. So that was the World Shift event. So now we're going to go into another dawn phase. So it's dawn. And what that means is that once again, we're going to spawn world cards onto, in this case, the 2 space, if the 2 space is empty, on each of these worlds. So on the Bayou, we're just going to put this Frog God, oh my, into space 2. In the Dreer, we have a monster, but the thing is, the spaces 1, 2, and also 3, because the boss are full. So we are going to put our next monster in space 4 on here. So the spaces on these cards can fill up pretty quickly. So we have another monster down there. In this case, in the Iraqi Wastes, we are just going to put, it's an event, we don't need to flip that. Over here in the Oakenmoor, we have a monster who will spawn here. And then over here in Oppenheim, we have sections 1, 2, and 3 blocked off, so we're going to put a monster in 4. Then the Dojo doesn't spawn anything. And then Lunar Ridge, we'll put something in the 2 space right here. So another monster. And that is the Dawn upkeep done. Now I get to do stuff. So I have 2 cards in my hand. I have Bear Friend and Stoneclaw. And then on board, I have these options. So my Landslide card is telling me I can move 1 or spend 2 grit to move 3 spaces instead. The Dash is allowing me to perform the following effects in whichever order I choose. I can move up to 1 and deal 1 damage, range 1. So let's think about what my best options are. I kind of been wondering if I could get enough energy to go at this Tide Spirit, but now there's another enemy in the way, so I have to kind of figure out what to do. Oh, also FYI, since it is dawn, my grit has reset to 4. So I have 4 new grit for a new day. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We are going to go ahead and, so because I have that special card over here for not a drop, all my attacks in Lunar Ridge give me an extra like +1 to my attack. He's at 4, but he's really at 3. So I'm going to try to take out Tumult Tide Shaman. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to put Bear Friend down. So my next attack this turn with a single target deals +1 damage, and it costs 1 grit. So I'm going to pay a grit, putting me down to 3. And then we are going to do 2 damage, range 1, which costs 1 grit. That'll go sort of in this exhausted position down here. So those are my in-hand actions. And it's going to do a total of 3 damage. So we have absolutely taken out Tumult Tide Shaman. So what's interesting about this is that I have special loot. I may deal 3 damage to any target, range 4. I'm also going to get +2 for blue energy and +1 for gold. I'm going to show you something cool with that in just a moment. All right, so this is actually going to be a super cool moment. So special loot is something that I have to use immediately. So sadly, I can't save it and use it to go out to the Tide Spirit, fun as that would be. However, let's just take my energy really quick and I'll show you. So I'm going to get 2 blue energy automatically. And then I get 1 gold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use that gold energy, which is wild, to bump up my blue so that we can look at my upgrades and get an upgrade card at the end of this round. Then I'm going to use my special loot. So it says I can deal 3 damage to any target range 4. If I'm range 0, right, I can attack anything that's 4 away from me. So 1, 2, I could get the Aegis Moss. 1, 2, I could get the Molten Mantis. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, those are the guys that I can attack and actually do something with on this turn. So I think that is a really good idea. I am going to, hang on. Let me think this through. What would be the best? Yeah, I want to take out this Molten Mantis. So that 3 damage to any target range 4 is also going to kill the Molten Mantis. Goodbye. And that gives me 2 green energy and 1 gold. So what I'm going to use for that, so as these guys come up off the board, if I have 2 green energy and 1 gold, that means I can go 1, 2, 3. So now I'm close to an upgrade on my green energy as well. And green is my special energy, so I particularly am interested in leveling up in that and hopefully eventually maxing out. So I just got a whole lot of energy that turn from messing around with those monsters that had spawned on the board. So we're going to upgrade. So here are my blue upgrade cards. I get to choose one of these now that I've hit that middle threshold for blue energy. So I can choose Kuma's Might. So in hand, whenever I take damage from a target within range 2, I can spend 1 charge to deal that target 2 damage. So I get 2 charges on it, and then I can pick it up for free, put it back down. And then here, whenever I would take damage from a monster or corrupted, I can remove 1 charge to prevent 2 of that damage. So this one makes me stronger, this one makes me more defensive. I need to do some damage because I'm not moving fast enough. There's no way I'm gonna get all these guys this time. Sorry guys. So Kuma's Might is what I'm gonna take. So I'm gonna put this in my hand. Let's also clean up the rest of my hand. I didn't actually do either of my on-board actions. I only did the 2 in hand. So I had 3 activations, but I only used 2. I'm not very efficient at this game, you might have noticed, but I enjoy it. So now I have Stone Claw and I have Bear Friend, so I can pick some stuff up later as a free action. Okay, so I have a bunch of onboard options and Kuma's Might as we go into Dusk. So first, however, we're going to just go ahead and move this, and we're going to do the Dusk counter. We're going to take 2 cards from the Dusk deck, and we're going to roll for where they go. Okay, so here on the Dreer, 4 is actually occupied, so we're going to put it on 5. But here's a Dusk card. We got a Skybrarian. Oh, that's kind of awesome. Okay, so we're going to put him on spot 5 down here. And we'll roll another. Okay, so red 1, Oppenheim 1. So Oppenheim is actually full up too. So we're going to have to put it on 5. So we got another Dawn Kyrian. Why are they all piled up in here? So he's going to go here. And they're all blocking off the Painted Duke, which is that Oppenheim boss I'm going to need to get to at some point. So we got to like figure this out. That was Dusk. And now I get to take a turn. So let's see whether I can take out this Tide Spirit. So I'm going to take out the Tide Spirit. And then I think you've actually seen enough of this game to figure out whether it's for you or not. So we'll stop there. But I definitely want to take out at least one boss. I'm going just pathetically slow. Woof. I basically have to get a boss every single round I play from now to the end in order to win. God. All right. So in hand, I have Kuma's Spirit. Well, Kuma's Might. So what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to play this because whenever I take damage from a target within range 2, I can spend 1 charge to deal that target 2 damage. So I'm about to take some damage from the Tide Spirit. So I will be able to kill him off within the turn. So I'm going to put this down as Kuma's Might. And I'm going to put a charge counter on it so we can see the charges. So Champions of Hara comes with these little charge counters. So I have 2 charges on it. Once I use it, I'll move it to 1, and then 0, I'll take it off, and then I can pick it back up for free. So for now, it's down with 2 charges on. I'm going to put it over here, kind of keep it separate from everything else. And then I can do 2 more activations. So here's what we're gonna do. We have 3 grit left for the day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play Landslide. It says move 1, you may spend 2 grit to move 3 spaces instead. So I'm gonna spend 2 of my grit and exhaust this card. So now I'm down to 1 grit in order to move here and stand on this Tide Spirit. So now what's gonna happen is he is at 6 health, and I need to figure out, but it's really 5, because remember, this not a drop card is a persistent thing where my attacks against a single target deal +1 damage here in the Lunar Ridge. So let's figure out what would be good for this. Okay. So I need to hit 5. And I'm going to be able to do it. So check this out. So I've done 2 activations. Now I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 grit. So I only have 1 grit left, which is going to be, so it's going to be 1 grit and 1 health. So 1 grit and actually go down a health, down to 7 health in order to pull this off. I'm going to do 3 damage to this Tide Spirit. And those are actually my activations. Like, I'm done. However, that was +1, so that was really like 4. He has 2 health left. Now, at the end of my turn, he's going to attack me. When he does that, I'm going to take 2 damage. But I'm also going to use my Kuma's Might charge. So whenever I take damage from a target within range 2, I can spend 1 charge to deal that target 2 damage. So I did 4 on my attack, and then an additional 2 here. Sadly, the Tide Spirit is dangerous, so now that I've killed him, he's going to get an extra 2 hits at me. I got to do something about my health, but I have a Phoenix down, so whatever. So I have now defeated 1 boss, this Tide Spirit. And the rewards for that are pretty big. I get 1 red energy, 2 blue, 2 gold, and 1 item number 18. So let's take our just rewards. So I get 1 red energy. I got to catch up on those. 2 blue, which isn't great. We're definitely taking the 2 gold as green energy. So I've passed my threshold. We're going to get to upgrade and get a green card. And also we're headed towards max, which means I can pull my ultimate ability. And then we're going to get item number 18 and just see what that is. All right, so let's check out 18. A Moon Shard. Discard. Choose a player within range 2, including yourself. You may reset that player's character-specific resource to any position you choose. Oh, that's awesome. That means I can basically use up all of my grit, then toss this card to reset my grit to 4, and then just keep going instead of having to spend health for 1 turn. So that's pretty awesome. The items in this game are great. So the Tide Spirit is gone. I've gotten 1 out of like the bajillion 7 bosses that I have to defeat in this scenario. All right, so Dusk has ended, and what that means is it's time to draw a World Shift card. So let's see what this one's going to be. Ooh, Tears of Oakenmoor. Torn asunder from the great forest, Oakenmoor bears the curse of a century-old sorrow, which causes its cuddly flora and fauna to undergo horrific transformations. Switch the location of Oakenmoor in the dojo, keeping their orientations the same. All players gain 1 green energy, and the player with the least total energy gains an additional gold energy. That'll be me, haha. Then all players must pick up or put down an ability without activating it. Oh, bummer. So basically what that means is that you lose an action. So anything that was put down, you have to pick up without getting to do the thing you were planning to do with it, or if it's in your hand, you have to put it down without getting to do what you wanted to do when you put it on the table. So what that will mean for me, though, is, okay, so let's take 1 green energy. That's not a bad thing for me. And then the player with least total energy gains an additional gold. I'm going to go ahead and take another green energy, trying to get to my ultimate. And then, actually, no, I'm going to take a red energy. So here's my current energy layout, which is not bad at all. And then, yes, I will have to pick up or put down an ability without activating it. Let's go ahead and move this stuff first, though. So Oakenmore and the dojo have to switch locations. This is actually good for me because it brings this boss closer. So Oakenmore is going to come over here. Woo. And now the dojo is going to go over here. All right, so this is actually kind of good because this puts me close to the horrible tangle. So if I can muster up enough energy to kill this dude, that wouldn't be bad. And I'm having some ideas for how I could do that. The other thing that we get to do is now that this turn is over, I get to pick another upgrade. So let's have a look at what the upgrades are and see if it's helpful. All right, so let's sort out my cards so I can figure out what abilities I'm dealing with. So these guys are currently in hand because they're what I used their on-board actions last turn. So now they're going to be in my hand for the next turn. And then, let's see. I have Bear Friend and Dash on board. So I could pick up Bear Friend. I'd really like to get my health back, but that just may be my life. Dash, I kind of want to leave where it is. And the Kuma's Might, I have one more charge on. I want to. So basically, that event card is forcing me to put down or pick up a card without using the action. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up Bear Friend, but I don't get to gain 1 additional health and spirit. I should have just picked this up for free before, but whatever. So I picked it up. So now I can put it back down for free, happily, but I still have to spend some grit on a future turn to bump up my attack. So, I mean, I guess it could be worse. I haven't been utilizing this card as well as I should anyway. So now I have 3 cards in hand, 1 on board, so that's an on-board action. And then I get to pick, yay, a new upgrade to put into my hand. So our choices are Avalanche, deal 1 damage, range 3 in hand, or Rock Maul, deal 4 damage, range 0. So this costs 2 grit to do. So I can basically have 4 damage, range 0 with the take-up. I can ignore the monster keyword aggressive on the next turn, so I can move into their space. Potentially interesting. Or I can deal 3 damage to all other targets within range 1, and then I can deal 1 damage, range 3. So, I kind of like ranged attacks, and this one does consistent damage every turn. I think I'm gonna take Avalanche. That's what I'm gonna grab. And then this one goes back in the level up pile. So now I have an extra blue card and an extra green card to work with. So that is my quick solo overview of Champions of Hara. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe to this channel. Happy gaming!